Hello everyone, I'm Adam Papagan. Welcome to another week of There's a Place, the ASMR talk show, the show that feels good to hear. ASMR is, of course, soft sounds that give people a little tingle in their brain, and we're taking that philosophy, that approach, that phenomenon far into the reaches of media, breaking ground. So it's exciting. Thanks for being here. Lesson this week, something I want to talk about. You never know what kind of thing will make you happy, what little thing you can find happiness is. I'll tell you what I mean. My steering wheel just was the hottest summer ever, I think, in Los Angeles. My steering wheel is essentially melted. So, I'll drive around, I'll get all this gunk, steering gunk on my hands. It was a disaster. I said, okay, gotta get a steering wheel cover. And I never buy auto accessories. I just, the car is so expensive to maintain as it is. Why get a seat cover? Why? But it's stupid because you spend so much time using this thing, make it nice. But anyway, so I go, steering wheel cover, go to Kmart, gotta support, Target, Walmart, these big companies are everywhere. Try out Kmart, do something different. But I found a steering wheel cover. The pattern was of a Mexican blanket. It was called Baja Blanket, which sounds like maybe the new flavor of Mountain Dew. But I've had it on a steering wheel all week, and it's been just a great, I'm so excited to drive the car because of this stupid Mexican blanket steering wheel cover. But it just goes to show you, look for pleasures in the small things. Look for turn problems into opportunities. My guest tonight is a comedian. He's a writer. He's all over the place. He does characters. You might know him as Brickstone on the internet, but we know him as Dave Sirus. Hey, Dave. We're ready for you. Yeah, we're ready. Uh-huh. Hey, thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Okay, cool. So the shirt, yeah, we're in the Bat Cave right now.
Okay.
See, that's up Bronson Canyon, it's the actual Bat Cave. So it's good that the shirt shows up here in the Bat Cave.
All right, great.
Cool. Okay, you're taking your glasses off.
They're off.
Okay.
They reflect. I didn't get the thing that makes the light not reflect.
Oh, why don't they just make the glasses? I'll have that.
It's an add-on. It's an add-on I chose not to have.
How come?
It cost more, and I thought I would look more like Kevin from Sin City if I didn't get it.
Who's that?
He's the guy with the reflective glasses.
Oh, okay, yeah, he's cool.
He was played by Elijah Wood in the movie.
Nice.
So I was really picturing myself more as the comic version.
All right, well, I'll have you, maybe your next pair of glasses. You can do that. Or not. It's extra. Well, you look great.
Thank you.
Without them. So Dave, I was looking through my preparations for the show. I was looking through our mutual friends on Facebook, which is always, it's usually what you expect, but every once in a while you'll get like a weird cross thing. So it's all comedian people, and then people from the DIY music scene in Los Angeles.
Yes.
So I know how I came to have a foot in both worlds, but how did you, because you're not from here, right?
No.
Yeah, right. So you moved out here, and which came first? Which group of friends?
Well, I mean, I've been doing comedy before I moved here.
Okay.
So, I mean, I would know comedy people
Okay.
since like high school. And when I moved here, I started hanging out, like at the Smell, through my friends. I was mostly through friends that like my first job here at a Psychic Hotline.
Psychic Hotline?
Yeah, I was working at a Psychic Hotline with the drummer from Magic Johnson, and I'd gone to punk shows like a lot before that, but that was like in New York and stuff, so this was unrelated to that community.
The Psychic Hotline, though.
Yes.
So are you psychic?
No.
So how does
None of them are.
No. Well, yeah, that's true. But were you? So somebody would call you up and you would give them psychic?
No.
No. Okay. What happened?
I was like customer service and a manager, so the people in the office were all customer service, and then the psychics were at home, and we would connect them. We would get their information and connect them.
So somebody calls in to this. Is this like a hotline that would advertise on TV?
Yeah.
So somebody calls into the hotline,
Mm-hmm.
and then you guys say, "Let me find a psychic that's available."
Yeah, we get their credit card information, we tell them how much it's going to be, and then we see which psychics are there that we could recommend, and we'd recommend whoever the most popular psychic at the time was.
How much does it cost?
The first time is $1 a minute.
Wow. And that was the average call.
And that's only your first time.
Okay.
After that, it's like $3 a minute.
Whoa.
And the first time, you would get like, you would, they're not making money on you right away. They only make money when you keep going. It's like the first time is always like a promotional amount.
Mm-hmm.
And
like a drug dealer.
yeah, exactly. And then as time went on, they would, people would tend to use fairly long amounts of time. I mean, I'm sure the psychics, wanted to make these conversations last as long as possible, and I would speak to them too. So I got a good idea of how it worked, because they wouldn't know that I was their boss.
You would like go undercover talking to the psychics?
Yeah, that was part of the job, is like just having readings with them without them knowing, just like to gauge them.
To test the accuracy?
Mm-hmm.
How did you find the psychics?
I mean, I didn't hire them, but they're all, psychics. So I'm sure they
community.
They probably applied to us.
Did you ever feel any, like you were maybe taking advantage of people as part of the job?
Yes.
Okay. Did you have any qualms about it?
Yes, I did.
That's why you're not there anymore?
Well, yeah. I mean, I quit.
Yeah.
For a lot of reasons, but I mean, it's consenting adults. I just don't respect it as a means of entertainment.
How long would the relationship between the caller and the psychic, like how many, you get a repeat caller, I'm guessing, over and over again, it's the psychic they liked. How long would these relationships last?
Definitely. I mean, they could last as long or as short. I mean, the whole idea is that they wanted people to call a lot, and that's where, there's an opportunity there for someone to spend a lot of money. So I certainly didn't want people ruining themselves, and I used to, I would look for any excuse to make someone stop using us. If they complained about the money they were spending, I would just ban them, because I was like, I'm doing you a favor. I'm not going to feel bad about this.
Did you get banned from the psychic line?
Yeah.
For your own good?
Well, I would ban people.
Yeah, but for their own good.
Yeah. I mean, there are people out there, for various, psychics in general. It's something that since then I've decided, I believe since then it's just a really old con. I think the people believe that they're really psychic, though. I think a lot of the people.
That's what's interesting about it.
Like the psychics we had, no one acted like they were doing a scam. They all they all seemed to believe. There was nothing like we ever told them anything. Like, as far as the business was run, there was nothing illegitimate about it. It was like, these were people who said they were psychic, and people talked to them, and if they didn't like them, they didn't have to, use them. But, like, there was never, like Miss Cleo, I remember hearing, I think, that, like, with her, it was just people actually being taught to scam. Mm-hmm. Whereas with us, it seemed like it was just like, hey, look, we're hiring people who say they're psychics. They have to follow the rules, follow the law. There was nothing illegal about it. It's not really, we have no really way of knowing if these people are, lying to us when they say they're psychic. And if they're not good at it, the idea would be that, well, they wouldn't be successful. But, getting people to believe that you know their future is a very old game, mm-hmm. from what I've observed.
So then there might be something to it if it's been around for so long.
No. No, that doesn't. I don't think that its success is in any way an indicator of truth. I mean, astrology has been around for a long time, and it is not real.
It kind of is real, because if you believe the things that you're reading in your horoscope, you can actualize them to happen.
Right.
So it'll be a good influence on you.
Well, if that's what's happening, though, it's not real.
Yeah, it's real. It's just they needed a fun hook about the stars and stuff to.
But it would be like saying that a placebo is a real medicine because you believe it.
Okay.
It's a placebo effect. I think that the problem is a lot of people do believe in these things, and I do believe that it's a short road to madness to believe that everything happens for a reason, because it doesn't. And I think people need to make these connections between things, because that's evolution. That's how we learn to hunt, by finding connections and learning to find patterns. That's why people are addicted to gambling. Mm-hmm. It's the same thing of why people need to believe in things like astrology and psychics. It allows them to create an order that for their lives that lets them feel like things aren't chaos, when in actuality, we're on a rock in space.
Do you wish that you could believe in psychics and astrology sometimes?
I used to.
You used to?
I mean, when I was younger, when I was a kid, I believed in them. And yes, I think everyone wishes they could believe in that sort of thing because it's more fun. A lot of things that aren't true make your life more fun, but it's wrong. And I think it is wrong to believe anything that's not true just because it makes you happier.
So the Psychic Hotline's how you got into the freak scene.
Yeah, I started hanging out. I mean, I preferred hanging out in that kind of scene more than in comedy, even though, like, when you do comedy, you're supposed to have your whole social life be comedy. But it was just that since I lived in LA, which is more than 10 years ago, that was who I hung out with.
How come you don't like hanging out with comedians?
I don't know.
Too similar to you?
I don't know.
Not similar enough?
I have friends who are comedians.
Oh yeah.
But I don't know. I don't need my life to be all about that scene. I don't know. I don't necessarily look to control who I'm friends with. It's like I'm just gonna be friends with who I find myself being friends with and who's fun. And also, it's like people who only live comedy start getting warped because they don't really see the way real people think. It's like people who do nothing but open mics. They start getting a really warped idea of what is going to work on stage. Like, they start playing to broken, jaded comics. Mm-hmm. Broken, jaded, failed comics.
Yeah.
And that's a very specific sense of humor.
It's a pitfall.
Yeah.
It's a trap built within it. Mm-hmm. Trap all the hacky people.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of people with a lot of drive, independent of whether or not they have talent. Mm-hmm. And it can affect your sensibility.
Get that tire stuck in the mud. Mm-hmm. Then you just get a bunch of mud all over yourself and you just live in the mud. Mm-hmm. So you're hanging out with Matt Teardrop.
Yeah.
You're hanging out with Tukey.
Sure.
All these people have been on the show, friends of the show.
Oh, good.
Karen Centerfold.
This sounds like a terrible show. This sounds like a show of you trying to desperately yank a coherent conversation out of people who can't muster that.
You'd be surprised.
And these are all people I like very much.
Yeah.
I want to be clear about that.
You hit the nail on the head, though. It is, but they need the experience talking. I'm helping them out.
They do. They all need the experience. Karen doesn't.
No.
Karen has experience in everything. What she needs is the opposite. She needs to stop experiencing things wantonly. I love Matt. I love him very much.
Yeah. Good
I'm
group.
sure he was great. He's a great man.
Mm-hmm.
Tuki's fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you have
Karen should be in jail. Yeah, sorry, go on.
She probably has been in jail.
I mean, I assume.
Yeah. She's,
I'm sure she ruled it with an iron fist.
Oh yeah. Have you ever tried to work with her on anything?
No, why would I?
Oh, she's
Of course not.
She's never roped you into anything.
I've been.
Hey Dave, we're gonna have this great show and need you to come down.
Yes, she has done that.
Uh-huh.
Have people said yes to that?
Yeah. I'll humor. I'll go do some.
Okay.
Yeah.
She once gave me a note that said Mitt Romney is a Nazi, spelled N-O-T-Z-I.
He is.
To be fair, this was during the 2012 election, but it was eye-popping.
So you now though you're in New York.
Mm-hmm.
You've clawed your way away from Karen Centerfold,
Yes.
away from bitter open mic comedians.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe, I don't know. I'm not familiar with the New York comedy scene. But you're working at Saturday Night Live.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you make the jump from the Smell to Rockefeller Center?
Oh, I mean, it's not like I stop going to the Smell if I'm in town.
Mm-hmm.
It's the Smell isn't isn't the weirdest place compared to it. I think the Smell is like a great venue, and it's like people need authenticity. I think people who really want to find authenticity find it there, but of course the act of doing so makes it no longer authentic. Like Avril Lavigne will be like, this is perfect. This is exactly the backdrop I want for the persona I'm going to pretend to have. But it helps. I mean, every different kinds of worlds help do comedy. Like I said, people who only live comedy, it takes away from like your ability to really know what you're talking about. And there's a lot to learn from the filthy and tired people that you'll meet downtown.
Have you ever tried to like write a sketch about like that world or like that sensibility, and then it just doesn't play with like mainstream comedy? You know what I mean? Like setting something at a DIY venue or like something that you are personally interested in.
Not really.
And you're just not.
I wrote a pilot called DIY that was sort of in that world, and I think that like you can write. People don't need to know that much about something to be able to write about it, because you're not supposed to be writing like to inside. You're supposed to be like, and I see that all the time. People start writing to inside to like there's something that only like a very small group of their friends would get. I think you can write about anything. I think you can write a good comedy that takes place there, and without it being like a Big Bang Theory, where it's actually just like real writing that people want to see different worlds that they're not used to, and like most people don't know what crust punks are like.
They have some idea of it though,
Mm-hmm.
and all they really need is enough of that idea.
Right, and their
let's
idea
kinda
may
go with it.
and the fact and like the things that the ways their idea might be wrong might be something you can use.
Shifting gears a little bit then, what's up with Brickstone? Is your alter ego?
It's a character I do in comedy. I hadn't done it since SNL started, and then I was going to do some this summer, but now I'm working for Triumph. So pretty much any time or writing that I would do for Brickstone, I would just do for Triumph. I mean, he's interviewing Westboro, so it like makes more sense for me to just funnel all that. I mean, if I hadn't gotten a job like that, I probably would have done. I definitely would have done some kind of election Brickstone thing, which I know people have asked me to do. But you know, the truth is, it's like Triumph is such a perfect thing for like that kind of writing to go to anyway. And I've written like hundreds of jokes for it now that I kind of have to. That I just didn't. It just didn't make sense for me to do a Brickstone this summer.
But he's your kind of man on the street.
Yeah, it's just
like
since college.
An aggravator.
Yeah, since
man of the people.
Since I was 18, I've been doing bits where I would just try to see if I could get people to believe in news stories that didn't really happen. This is years before Jimmy Kimmel was doing Live Witness News. And it started with that, with just me trying to lie about news stories, and then I made them more like jokes. But some of those people still believe them anyway. Yeah. And then it wasn't until years after that I started actually using the kind of format to deal with hate groups.
So do people generally believe a fake news story?
No. Less often than you think. Also, especially because they can look it up on their phones now, which no one thinks to do.
Well, if somebody's talking to you, if somebody told me a fake news story, I would try to like be nice, be like, oh yeah, okay. This is probably what most of the people are.
Yeah. Well, so you're looking for people who are like willing to stop on Hollywood Boulevard and talk to you. So that's already a red flag about them.
Who's one of the crazier characters you've met just out on the street?
Well, I mean, like besides Westboro?
No, yeah, not like ones that you've targeted. But just like if you're just out on the street.
Random people?
Yeah, anybody comes to mind?
I mean, they're so often drunk, high, or crazy that picking one out is kind of splitting hairs. I mean, you see a lot of people who you can really see like literally anything you said to them, the words they're going to say when you're done talking are going to be the same. Like they don't let new information affect their answers. And I mean, I've definitely talked to people who were just flat out crazy. It's more fun when you talk to like couples who are just drunk at 2 p.m. on a Sunday on Hollywood Boulevard, and you get to just like really, and they're like excited to like, they're just there to like do something, because that's what you really want. You want tourists. And then like the best part is when you really get to watch a couple start reevaluating their like relationship based on how stupid something one of them said, which has totally happened.
Do you think, do you feel guilty for that? Like the psychic job?
The psychic job?
Well, similar to the psychic job where you felt kind of moral reservations.
Oh no.
Do you feel like, you know,
oh God, no.
Promoting somebody to reevaluate their relationship?
I felt bad like in college when a guy like almost started crying because I told him Chelsea Clinton killed herself, but that was a much earlier version of the bit.
So it used to just be like,
yeah,
mean lies?
Yes.
That could be true. Mm-hmm. So not really even jokes. Just
well, the bit was just to see if I could get people to act as though they knew something. That the whole bit originally was to see if I could get people to bullshit.
But if you told them a news story that sounds like it could be true.
Well, no, I wasn't saying it like, this just happened, let me get your reaction. I would say it like, what did you think when you heard about this?
Okay.
And to see if they'd be like, oh, I was shocked, or like, and have an opinion about it. Oddly enough, very few people did that though. Very few people actually pretended to know what they're talking about.
They would just, oh, I didn't hear about that.
Yeah, they would just be like, that sounds crazy, because usually it was a fairly crazy story.
And then how would you get out of talking to them?
I would say thank you.
Okay, thanks.
I would say thanks a lot.
What was the?
I didn't like tell them we were lying at the end or anything.
Yeah, of course not. Yeah,
just move on.
Move along.
Yeah, I don't have all day.
Do you get like, you'll see somebody walking down the street and you'll just be like, oh, this person is gonna be weird. Can you kind of tell? Have you gotten a sixth sense for?
Not necessarily, to be honest, because most of the crazy people seemed fine at first. To be honest, because the ones that look that crazy, I'm not trying to get on the air. I'm not just trying to put crazy people on the show and just be like, oh, look at this homeless guy, but he's gonna be hilarious. Like I'm usually just trying to get like real people to make fun of.
And you've now shifted that, or at a certain point shifted that to trolling hate groups.
Mm-hmm.
Trolling is the right term, right? Kind of.
Sort of.
Yeah. So you
people called it trolling, so I guess so.
You went to a Westboro Baptist protest.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember what they were protesting?
The first one?
Yeah, because they protest like almost everything.
The first one that I went to was at the Jewish Federation on Wilshire. They were just protesting that it was a, Jewish organization. They'll protest literally anything.
Mm-hmm.
They protest, grade schools. Like it doesn't really matter. Anyone who's not one of them is guilty. So that was on Wilshire, and I was just like, I heard they were coming, and I was like, oh, this could be fun. I was like, because it was like I saw them at like Comic-Con, where people were like had signs making fun of them, and you could see that like the signs made fun of them, but that they liked the attention, and I was like, I bet I can give them attention they don't like. That's literally what it was. I was like, I think there's a formula here that I could do something that would be fun that they would hate.
How many Westboro Baptists were there when you got down there?
Maybe 5.
There's not very many of them.
That's the most they ever have. It's always about 5 people.
Huh.
Always, yeah.
And you did this a couple times. So did you see the same people, Adam?
Yeah, it's mostly the same people. The whole church is like 40 people. There's only like 15, 20 that actually go out. So yeah, you see the same people. I mean, Shirley Phelps has been at the majority of ones I've been to. Some I've seen who quit.
And would they see you coming and kind of know you're going to be joking around with them?
Yeah, by the third one, they were just yelling to each other to warn about me.
But they like the attention.
They used to.
Okay.
They used to like the attention of me talking to them. The last several times, they just don't want me around, and so I had to just do different things that would be entertaining to people who refuse to talk to me. And sometimes if you do enough, they'll start talking.
Any other hate groups or anybody in your crosshairs?
I've done the Street Preachers. Ruben Israel is he leads the Street Preachers, and they're a hate group that would go to like gay pride parades. And now he's a prominent Trump supporter. But he was the guy who would go to all the gay pride parades and tell everyone they're going to hell and stuff. I've also done a lot of videos with conspiracy theorists. I've done interviews with people where I try to show the outside, where I'm just trying to show random people what the people that are creating these conspiracy theories are actually like, and what they actually believe, and who you're believing.
How come you're doing all of this as a persona and not as yourself?
I mean, it's just a name that I use for the videos. It's not like, I could have just used my own name, but I just had been doing this news character forever, that it just seemed like it made sense to keep it linear. Because because it's always supposed to be like tongue-in-cheek. It's like, I'm not really myself, I'm being like a sarcastic dick in that moment. So like, it didn't really matter to me, but it just seemed like it was like, all right, well, this video got really viral, and I was using the name because the name was linear to older bits that I had done. It just seemed like it made sense, so I just kind of kept with it. And also, it's like it's the name is supposed to like make fun of journalists, and I'm not a journalist.
Yeah.
I'm a comedian. So when I act like one, I might as well use a fake journalism name.
But you don't feel like this is like the real Dave could never do something like that, and this allows you to step out of.
I wouldn't say that, because it wouldn't really matter to me. It was just sort of a decision at the time that I stuck with, because I was like, because that's when I would play news guy, I would want to use a fake news name. That's really all it is. It's not like what I'm doing to them is not me, or that it would matter to me if I had my real name or not. Because, yeah, I mean, if I hadn't had the name Brickstone before, I just would have, it just would have been Dave Sirus, doing Westboro stuff.
Any other characters?
I mean, I've done a lot of different web videos, and I've had different characters that I've played. Nothing that's like prominent, The first one the most popular one, like early on YouTube, was I played a guy with a hand for a penis. His name was Stan Hancock.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
And then I had another character, Inappropriate Bob, which is just a guy who says the most wrong thing he can think of in a situation. Lex Holcrum is a character. It's like a Star Trek character that I've played sometimes. He's a guy who spent an indeterminate number of years alone in a silent, gravity-free capsule, and he has a home shopping show that he beams out to no one. I mean, we don't know if it's no one. Presumably, someone's gonna see it.
Do you ever think of a name for a character before you have the character?
No.
Okay.
The name I just sort of come up with at some point.
Karen Centerfold sometimes has me play a character named Johnny Stunati.
Mm-hmm.
Who's like a John Travolta type guy.
Mm-hmm.
She has a wig that she bought.
Okay.
Has me, yeah. She keeps the wig though. I don't have control over this character.
She's from New York, right?
She's from San Francisco.
Oh, I assume everyone that age is from New York. Yeah, San Francisco works too. Yeah, well,
Yeah,
I feel like I can
Johnny
reverse
Stunati.
engineer where she got the name. I mean, I feel like in her day, that was a very popular thing, to be an Italian who danced. It was a very big thing in the late 70s. And stunad means stupid.
Yeah.
So,
Kind of a good character.
yeah.
I mean, Karen Centerfold's a great character. So,
Yes. Yeah.
master of disguise.
Sure. So what did you do?
Oh, it's just like I have to read one of those weird scripts that she writes where like Nazi is spelled wrong and stuff.
I never seen her scripts.
Oh,
They're like written
see,
down?
Yeah, you should work with Karen while you're out here. It's a big poster board, and she writes in like crazy writing and then tapes them up underneath the cameras.
See, here's the thing. I just don't like so bad it's good anything. I feel like there's a lot of people who really enjoy things that are purposely bad, and they enjoy them on that level. And I get that. I mean, there's certain things I can do that I like making fun of, but there's a certain kind of just train wreck that a lot of people enjoy more than me. And her name is Karen Centerfold. And it's not specific to her. There's a lot of TV shows, a lot of different entertainment that I hate because I think it's all about just kind of being lazy for the sake of, like, saying I'm being weird as a mask for being lazy. I don't think that's what Karen's doing.
No, she's legitimately weird.
No, I believe that, but I think that there's so much entertainment that's trying to be what she is, trying to be, local access crazy person. That ends up being like it ends up just being a thing about being lazy and not wanting to like write because you can just do one character over and over again. Now, granted, Karen means it, but does she?
She's like the psychic who
part
believes
of
that
this?
she's psychic.
Yeah, is there part of this that she wouldn't do it if it didn't get a certain reaction?
That's the magic. That's the astrology.
Okay.
She makes it all, Speaking of writing, let's talk about SNL.
Okay.
I have some questions about the nuts and bolts of how that show's been on for decades.
Yes.
For 40 years. So thousands of people have worked there over the years. Is it just like working for like in the Coca-Cola plant sometimes where like it's so clear what needs to be done and it's so like down and so the hierarchy is set up?
No, because I mean my part of it as a writer
That's gonna be changing all the time.
It's very much its own. The office of the writers and the performers is one area, and I mean, and that's, yeah, I don't know how much different it's different from other shows, but it's certainly not an overly regimented environment. It's the same way it was in the 70s. People stay up all night and they write sketches, and then you read them and you see which ones you want to make.
And so before you got this job here, did you like watch the like the specials where they go like behind the scenes and they're like did you know about all like the lore and like people who've got like banned from the show?
Yeah, I knew a good amount of that. I read a few books.
Okay.
I didn't watch any of the thing, but I read a few books. I mean, I knew before that. I already knew as a comedian. I knew plenty of stuff about it.
But you weren't
who
like
the most hated hosts were, who's been banned. That stuff I kind of knew. I found that I tended to know a little more about the history of the show than a lot of other people there.
That's interesting.
Like I would bring up things from like years ago, and most people were unaware of them. I mean, like I don't think anyone in that office knew who Ray Sharkey was until I brought up the fact that I was like, oh yeah, he was a host in the '80s who said the F word on the air, and it was the second time that happened on the show, and then he purposely gave someone AIDS.
Oh wow. More people need to know that story.
Yeah, no, very few people know about Ray Sharkey.
I never heard that. There's all the musicians who have had controversy on the show. Mm-hmm. Sinead O'Connor.
Yeah.
Elvis Costello.
Yeah, Elvis had that corporate song.
Yeah.
The anti-corporate song.
Uh-huh.
And they're mad about.
Played it anyway.
Yeah, yeah.
Fear.
I don't know what Fear did.
Fear trashed the set.
Okay.
John Belushi was like decided they liked punk music, so Fear came on the show on Halloween, and they trashed the set.
That's fun.
Yeah.
And Rage refused to do the second show.
What do you mean the second show? Like the second song?
Rage Against the Machine, yeah, didn't do the second song, yeah.
How come? Do you know why?
I think they said something about like because they had like an upside down American flag, and they took it off before the show started. Mm. And they were mad that their episode was Steve Forbes.
Are the after parties cool?
They're okay.
Is there an after party?
Yeah, there's always an after party. It's at like a restaurant or something. I mean, to me, it's like, I mean, to me, it's like I've been there so long that I'm just like, I feel like I'm just like, I could just go home. It's fun. Mm-hmm. It's like it's nice to see everyone, but it's just like you're around the same people you've been around for a good 12 hours that day at least. It's one of those things where it's like I'm tired. Like I've not gone to like after parties that are like things that if I describe what was happening, it's very hard for people to understand why I didn't go.
Mm-hmm. But you're just the novelty kind of.
I'm like it's 5 a.m.
Yeah.
I don't need to be here.
People, you're at work.
Yeah.
Who have been your favorite guests since you've been there?
There's been a lot of really good guests that have been really fun. I mean, Larry David was awesome. Tina Fey and Amy Poehler was great.
Were you there with Donald Trump? Yeah, that was just this past.
Oh yeah, I was there for Donald Trump.
What was your part in all of that?
Same as any. Just you have your meetings, you pitch your sketches, you sit down with him and talk about what you're going to do for the show.
So you were like hanging out with him?
Yeah, I had a good half hour in my office with him. That happened. We had the people downstairs chanting, calling him racist, which he is. Nothing they said was really inaccurate.
What was he like?
We could hear the chanting during the read-through. Like while we're reading the sketches, we could hear the chanting of people who hated him, which I thought was really interesting.
What was he like through all of this?
What was he like?
Yeah, just whatever.
He didn't really acknowledge it, if that's what you mean. It's like there's really no point in me describing what he was like because he was...
How you would think?
Yeah. I mean, he's not putting on an act. That's who he is. He is that guy.
You know how people will have like an it factor, like an aura about them? Mm-hmm. Did he have any of that?
He had a lot of cologne. That's what you mean.
An odor about him.
I mean, no. I mean, you have to understand. I'm sitting down with him. He's on my couch. He's on my filthy couch, and
Mr. Trump, we think that in this part this will happen, and he's like, "This sounds great."
You think I called him Mr. Trump?
Called him Don?
Yes, I called him Donald. That's his name. I'm like, what the hell did he earn to call him Mr. anything?
He's rich.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, I'd read something about like how other shows he made everyone call him Mr. No one ever told me I had to call him Mr. And we call hosts by their first name, so that's what I called them.
And Hillary Clinton guest starred. Did you call her Hillary?
I didn't actually talk to her, but I'm sure people did. But I mean, like, I don't think she'd have a problem with that either. She was, from what I remember hearing, she was very open. She was very like, yeah, what do you want to do? You know, she knew she was on a comedy show, and she was, I mean, I didn't write the sketch she was in or anything, but I mean, from my observation and everything, it seemed like she was pretty like, you know, down to do whatever.
What could somebody do, your perspective on the inside, what could somebody do, a guest or a host or a musical act or whatever, to create a big media controversy?
What could
a la
someone do?
Ashley Simpson, like, because this
Well,
day and age, ripping up a picture of the Pope is not as controversial as it used to be.
It might with this Pope.
That's true. People love him.
Kind of would be a bit of a controversy if you did. I mean, no, that's something. I'm saying that would still be a controversy. I think absolutely. I mean, Pope John Paul was very popular, just like this Pope is. So, in different ways. I think that would still work. I mean, Kanye's Meltdown that was recorded, that was kind of a story. Not that much of a story, but that was only a story because it was just more of him, showing a psychotic break, which is just newsworthy. It's him talking about how he's 40% more influential than Stanley Kubrick, and which by the way, he watched a Stanley Kubrick movie within like a week. There's no way that's on the tip of his tongue all the time. That's like the new name he learned. Well, I mean, I don't think anyone's ever really tried to use SNL to have a controversy. Like, I don't think literally anyone's ever, like, if it's live. If you wanted to do something, you could. If you wanted to disrupt the show and just stop it, you totally could. No one's ever done that. Andy Kaufman did that on Fridays, but that was planned. It was just another, and it was Andy Kaufman. It was sort of, I think at the time people probably knew it was planned. The producers knew.
I would, I'd do something crazy.
And that's why you're not getting asked to do
the
the show.
Yeah, that's right. That's why you get banned forever.
See, that's the thing about the show. The hosts have a lot to lose. You don't get to host until you have a lot to lose.
That's a good point.
So I can't think of anyone. I think
who would give it all up.
Honestly, like if Tom Green didn't do it, no one's doing it. Who would?
Snoop Dogg smoked weed, didn't he? Or Cypress Hill or something? Remember that one?
But a band can do it. A band smoking weed is not really...
They get away with a lot more than the hosts.
They're not losing any. But I mean, a band... But like I said, the bands, it's just the band. If something goes wrong, they can just play they can play dress. They can, if something goes wrong, it's not a big deal. And nor would... It's not that big a deal. I mean, Ashley Simpson, or not Ashley, was that?
Yeah.
That was a big deal because she got humiliated. And because it got caught, lip syncing. Which, by the way, that must have been her, because I've never heard of anyone lip syncing on the show. We hear them singing all week. We hear them, we hear the singers practicing while we're doing our writing sessions all week in the studio.
So maybe that one was planned.
No.
She wanted out of her sister's shadow.
It must have been that she got, nothing good came of that for her. It had to have been her having some kind of special request. Because, I mean, they're going to accommodate whatever it is if you're a musical guest or a host.
So, Dave, you're doing SNL, you're doing Triumph the Insult Dog. But you're here in LA for the next couple weeks. Got any other projects you're working on?
Definitely going to be, we'll be working for the Comedy Central roast of Rob Lowe. I wrote for the Bieber roast, so I'll be writing for some people. I'll be writing some stuff that'll make it on this one. I got quite a few jokes in the Bieber roast, so I intend to get a few in this one as well. So there's that. And, we'll see. That's about as much as I can handle right now anyway.
Yeah. Right.
And I'll be doing some shows and stuff. Cool. Doing Largo Monday with Pete Davidson.
Oh, from Saturday Night Live?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Were you guys friends before that?
Uh-huh.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we were writing together before he was on SNL. We toured together this summer. We went on a bus tour. That was really fun. I'm doing Spelling Bee tomorrow too at the Improv.
Oh, cool.
It's a comedy show and a spelling bee.
Are you a good speller?
I was a copywriter for 2 years, so I bet I should be. That's what I left the psychic place to do, to be a copywriter.
Spell telekinesis.
TELEKINESIS.
I was sending you the correct answer just now, so you're able to do that. Dave, thank you so much for coming by the show.
Thank you.
Good luck with everything. Thank you all.
Is it ISES?
Yeah, here at the beach. Thank you all for tuning in.
I think it's ISES. Sorry. Thank you.
No, it was, whatever you said was right.
No, the first one, I was right the first time.
Yeah, I told you.
Yeah, I was.
Here. You got it?
Yeah, we just had a Ghostbusters 2 moment.
Yeah, you just got it. All right, well, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in. Until next time, this is Adam Papagan reminding you that there's a place you can go, and it's your mind. Good night.